Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Two Clicks from KO. I'm your host, Aaron, and today we're joined by my favorite Canadian, Jason Collins from Married with Clicks.
I'm the favorite? Take that,
Uh,
Tom.
yeah, Tom's been MIA these days, so it's like he doesn't have a Facebook, right? So he can't really interact with them that way. So, yeah, I'll say Tom is my favorite Canadian Hero Clicks player.
All right,
I
I'll
think that's
accept that
fair.
one.
That's fair, right?
But I'm the favorite Canadian.
Yes. Period. End of story. What's going on, man? How you been?
I've been isolated. I, I
As
haven't.
has the world.
Yeah, I've been kind of within a 3/4 of a mile, or no, not even like a quarter mile area of my apartment. That's about it. So
Yeah,
I did the conversion for you in my head.
nice. That's pretty impressive. I would have to look it up. That's cool,
Wait,
man. I mean, it's cool that you're working from home. I'm assuming, or
yeah, yeah.
so it's cool that you can do that. I can't. I have to go to work. Um, and it's hot as the devil's balls here, and we don't have air conditioning at my work, so it's not good for a guy of the stature of Volstagg. Okay.
It's
um,
not great for skinny guys either. Let me tell you, because
no,
there's
no,
only so much water in us, and when we let it all out,
it just start dropping like flies.
and I'm not a skinny guy, so I should probably shut my mouth.
You're not fat though. You're not as big as I am, so you're good. That's always my measuring stick. It's like, you're good. Yeah, so we're gonna talk today. We've got a ton of previews since our last recording from the Fantastic Four set. We're gonna talk about that. We've got some questions we're gonna answer, and that's pretty much it. There was like a Galactus unboxing on WizKids, I believe, since the last time I recorded. Um, we'll go over that a little bit, but full disclosure, I did not watch the whole video. I was at work when it happened, and I just haven't gone back and watched it. So, yeah. Jason, did you watch it?
Today's unboxing, the one
No, no,
pack
no. The
unboxing.
Galactus one.
Oh yeah, I didn't watch it in whole. I caught like the first one, but I didn't really catch the details because
Yeah.
I didn't feel like it was. They give such small amounts to in it, and
Yes.
it's kind of like a Netflix series. Like I feel like I have to binge watch all of it to get it all at once.
Yeah, and it's like a 15-20 minute video, right?
Yeah,
Of like one card. Like one portion of the card, not
yeah,
even the
a
full
portion
card.
of the card that they fold over and hide the rest of it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which is, I mean, I guess it's fun, right? It leaves room for speculation. I like to see like all the like with the Franklin Richards bystander, right? Once we saw that his insane stats, the 0, 12, 25, right? Pulse wave
Yeah.
impervious. It's like what in the but there was a trait, and it's like, what does this trait do? And so we found out today that his trait says if was it
Dr. Richards?
Dr. Richards, is that what it
Yeah.
is not on the map, then he goes poof, bye bye
Hmm.
at the end of any action.
Yeah.
So
So it's not like the beauty of it is it's not initially usable with Jason Wingard, but
mm,
if you kind of unpack it, Jason Wingard's a ruler and Dr. Richards a ruler. So you can
mhm.
still build a ruler keyword. I think if is he unique? I don't remember if Dr. Richards is
I
unique.
would have to look up his card.
Because if he's unique, then I'm going to shut my mouth and not say anything.
Well, I've seen a lot of people say that, so I'm gonna assume he's
Okay.
not.
So if he isn't unique, then he's still a Wingardable character because if you can have the one on the map, then the one on the sideline, bring in the Richards with
Doctor Fantastic,
Wingard.
right?
Yeah. So if that ends up happening, I hope he's unique. I hope to goodness he is.
That's what I'm like. If he's unique, it's fine.
It is like it is 3.5 extra steps just to get an extra possibility of a Franklin Richards, and you have to expend
Uh,
175 points. So
yeah, and then I think at that point you just basically just play the Doctor Fantastic, right? Like
yeah,
you don't even bother with the Wingard.
yeah.
So
Or you could do both. Yeah,
you could do
that
it.
yeah,
That's
that was
fine.
kind of the direction I was going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, so we got that spoiled today. We've got a ton of previews. Mr. Clixflix, Clickstoff, Eternal Games. Who else was there? Lucky Dice,
Yeah, Highlander Games I think had one as well.
Highlander Games. So we got a bunch. There was a Doombot previewed on WizKids official Twitter, right? So
Yeah.
that was really cool. A lot of really, I like the set so far. A lot of really cool stuff. The scrolls. I like the Frightful Four. Frightful Four making appearances.
Yeah.
It's a lot of Spider Mans though. A lot of Spider Mans.
Yeah.
If you oh, here we go. Sources. So we've got Game Trade magazine article had
Yep.
some dials. Eternal Games, Happy Little Hero Clicks had theirs. Lucky Dice, Highlander, WizKids Twitter, and then since then, Mr. Clixflix and Clickstoff. Those aren't on there yet. So it looks like Dials and Evidence isn't totally caught up. But if you go on to Realms and go through it, you can actually find a lot of them. I think like page 81 is where I saw the WizKids figure gallery, right? So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's just the pictures of all the figures, not necessarily the dials, but we know what everything in the set's going to be.
Yep. And we know the rarities too, right? So now we know, confirmed the chases are there's Sue Storm, the Maker, Valeria Von Doom, Battle Worlds Reed, God Doom, and Franklin.
Franklin Doom, yeah. Franklin Von Doom.
Yep. So 6 chases. We know all the super rares. Blastar makes a comeback. Big fan of Blastar. Nihilus is in the set. Fire Lord. So we're seeing some Galactus type stuff. We got Prime Silver Surfer, Prime Super Rare, Ghost Rider, who was previewed today. What do you think of him? He's pretty nuts, right?
I think that was a very unique take on the primes have always been a little bit meh as far as like model wise. And they went on a completely different extreme here. It's like, here's Ghost Rider, and here's Ghost Rider. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's crazy. If you look at like the Super Rare Ghost Rider sculpt, right, in the figure gallery, she's kind of just chilling. She's not like nothing too crazy. And then you look at like the Super Rare Prime, and it's like insane.
Double base on a bike.
Double base on a bike, freaking flames everywhere, going nuts. And then you look at the dial, and like potentially for 40 points, you got a Retaliator in him basically, but you can play him at his full dial. He's got Prob and Precision Strike with the ability to retaliate. If not, he's got Hypersonic Speed. So some pretty cool synergy there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, what are your overall thoughts on the set so far as you've seen it?
I'm super excited because there's a Doom in every rarity. So that's like my big selling point for me is a Doom for all rarities, and I'm cool with that. I do get what people are saying as far as there's a certain number of resculpting occurring in the set. It's a reality I accept in the game because they do have to cut costs somewhere.
Yes.
Molding ain't cheap, as it were, and paint is probably cheaper than the molding. So, I get why they have to do it. I've heard the complaints like there's not enough Fantastic Four stuff, and my feeling on that is spread it out. Don't give it to me all at once, because then when it leaves Modern, I have none anymore. Like they wanted to spam the keyword, and now for the next couple sets, when we get characters with the Fantastic Four keyword, they add to this thing. So, both ways, I'm really excited for the set, and I'm I think it's going to be a lot of fun for Sealed from what I am seeing. It does look like they're hitting the gas pedal on power again, though.
There's some power. I would say there's a fair amount of power creep in this set. I don't think it's anything outrageous. I don't think it's something where we should be up in arms about. Of course, the HC Realms guys will be burning the bridges down.
Really? HC Realms is going to be angry about something?
Yeah, they're going to come out from under their bridges and do what they do. But I think overall it's a pretty pretty reasonable amount of power creep. Got to do something to keep the game interesting for players, right?
And we're about to lose a whole bunch of off the map power, so power has to come on the map again, right? So
Yeah, for sure. Me personally, I'm looking forward to some scrolls. I love the scrolls.
yeah,
There's the scroll general that says when friendly characters use shape change and succeeds, the attacker can't choose a new target with the scroll keyword, right?
right.
So we know that now the scrolls team ability has been modified to be double shape change again, which is
Well,
I think
it's regular shape change, except they get it on a
no
6.
no,
But if
but
they
you can
have
use it
shape,
again.
no,
Yes.
no, no, they've changed it again.
Yeah.
Because now if you have shape change, it's on a 4, 5, 6 as opposed to the extra attempt at rolling.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, so
That's
it's
still good. So
shape change on a
50%.
6 or a 50-50. So the percentage goes up by like 3% versus the 6 and a 5. Tom and I kind of mulled over the math.
It's cool. I'll
Yeah,
take it. I'll
yeah.
take it. I like that. And then he also gives scrolls the underworld team ability, so a little bit more mobility.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice. Big fan of Franklin Richards and Annihilus. Annihilation is my favorite comic run. So seeing anytime Annihilus comes in, I'm for it. You know, it's funny you mentioned the Fantastic Four, like not having any modern and stuff. The last event I played in before COVID hit was make your own Fantastic Four, right? And so they gave us like the character had to have this power, this power, this power, right? One like something for each character.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna play the Fantastic Four. And I went back and I looked, I was like, So there's the ones in the Captain America set, and then there's the ones in Secret Invasion, and then there's super duper 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 old ones.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's it. I was like, oh, and none of these characters actually have the powers to be themselves. So then I like messaged the judge. I was like, hey, I know it says this, but can I just play the Fantastic Four? And
Yeah.
he was like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. It's like if you're gonna bring the Fantastic Four when they were like make a makeshift Fantastic Four, do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And I got mollywopped because they were just horrendously bad compared to today's figures. So.
All the more reason he let you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anytime Aaron's gonna lose, we're all for it.
I do have to make a small confession. I normally, traditionally, we our channel we do get the unboxings and a little bit of early product,
Sure.
but traditionally as well, what I do is I unbox that stuff and I leave it on a shelf until the set comes out or pre-release occurs, and I don't play with it because some people can see that as a competitive advantage, and I understand where people can come from that thought process.
Yeah.
But ain't none of y'all stopped me from playing that Doctor Doom the second I got it.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like, my brother, he stopped by. He picked up all my JLU stuff when I got my unboxing stuff. I gave him the starters. Like, go play. It's fine.
Yeah.
As they don't play competitive, anyways. So like, man, all of our nobody's playing anything anyways. So it's like whatever. You guys are all gonna. If you want to play, you can play online.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to own figures then.
Yeah.
So it's cool. Let's see here. So out of the previews that you've seen so far, what is the like one figure that you feel like you need to have?
Okay. I'm going to disqualify characters. Yeah, based on what we've seen preview-wise, what we've seen so far, and disqualifying Doctor Doom because that's the obvious.
Obvious, yeah.
Right?
Right.
I am interested in giving Franklin Richards a try. The rare.
Okay.
Because he's
a power.
Yeah, the pick a power one that has like 11 clicks. I just want to try him. For a 65-point investment, there's a lot of flexibility out of it. And, even though, you can deal yourself 3 damage, it's okay in a lot of cases, depending on how you're picking your powers. So,
it's kind of like Lockjaw, right? Like,
yeah.
Like if, what's the face? Darwin's on the map, right? It's like, you can pick a power, but you might roll that 6.
Yeah.
Or if they got an incapper on the map or something, it's like,
you roll that 6, and you got that extra action or the 1 action token to sing. Like, well then.
Yeah, it's like I guess I'm changing my entire turnaround.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I really think he's unique. I like the design of the dial. he only takes 1 damage at a time normally, right?
No, he can take between 1 and 3. You roll a die and you take
Gotcha,
half the
gotcha.
damage. So it could
Yeah,
be 1, it could be 3.
yeah.
Which I
Okay.
get that downside. But he also gives every Fantastic Four character within 4 squares power cosmic,
Yeah,
which will also
super
include
good.
himself. So he's got power
Yep,
cosmic.
yep. Super
And
good.
yeah,
Super good.
he's super interesting. I'm more interested in experimenting before I kind of say gonna play the crap out of him. Most just
Yeah,
to see what happens with him more often and what happens in worst case scenarios with him.
there's still the Black Widow downside, right? Like there's
Yeah,
that
yeah.
sucks. She
But I mean,
sucks.
as far as point parity is concerned, he's 65, she's 100. They're committing a little
Yeah,
bit of work to it. So, but
yeah.
Black Widow currently is kind of along the same lines as the pulse wave argument. It's like, okay, yeah, it's something you're gonna have to deal with. I get it.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Yeah, man, for me, I'm like I really want to say Super Scroll because I love Super Scroll,
Yeah,
but like he's not that good. He's okay.
yeah, he's okay.
It's okay.
He's got some really cool powers that he can pick
Yeah.
combinations wise. Um, and the 50.1 I think is more enticing than the rest of them.
Uh,
So, but also on all of his first clicks, he does have a 456 shape change,
sure, that's true.
as long as you don't know which shape change.
Yeah, but for me, Sandman is my jam, dude. I like the
Sandman.
Sandman. Sandman is my jam. The charge is cool. You know, it's like it's whatever. He's got shape change. He's got impervious. He got chances to roll out. He's got the Frightful Four Dune Sandstorm unique modifier that they modify damage -1 of making a close attack that targets a friendly character with a Frightful Four keyword. So anytime you want to hit him up close, you're gonna get -1 to damage. He's got Quake, Smoke Cloud. When he uses Smoke Cloud, he can Quake at no cost, but can target any opposing characters occupying or adjacent to his hindering markers, regardless of adjacency. So dropping the Smoke Clouds. He's basically got like Giant Reach 4, right?
Yeah.
Giant Reach 5 almost, because if
Mm-hmm.
you can put 4, then the next square. So yeah, man, I like that. I'm a big Sinister Syndicate guy. I like Sandman. I've always like played Sandman every chance I can, from Earth X, from Avengers Assemble, all these other ones.
Have
Super
you
fun.
looked at his wetter counterpart though? In
Is
Hydro Man,
Hydra Man? Yeah,
exact same dial,
yeah,
but add Indomitable and the ability to move from water, and it's
from
-1 damage
range.
from range.
Yeah,
And so we were getting a good chuckle about it on the show when we were previewing. It was like you got Hydro Man, and you got Sandman. They both look the same on paper, but then, a Hydro Man works in his own different way, and it's not Quake, but then he's indomitable, and you can make the smoke clouds on a regular basis and poison through it. So it
you
was
play them together though, right?
yeah, well, yeah, you make your own little mud man itself.
Yeah, yeah, you play them together. Um,
-1
got
damage at all times.
yeah, you've got like Wizard and all these other characters. Like it'll be fun. It'll be fun. There are only 6 clicks, right? But like with the -1 damage, it's like you have to account for that. And
Yeah.
that impervious actually matters a ton, right? Because like when I build teams, a lot of times I'm like, I gotta have a guy that's at least 3 damage, so I have a way to get through impervious, invulnerable, whatever. But it's like, oh, now you gotta have a guy that has 4 damage,
Yep.
because otherwise you ain't cracking this.
Yeah,
So
you're not getting through Hydro Man without penetrating damage.
it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty
They're both interesting in their own ways, that's for sure.
for sure. Yeah, I think you're right though. The Indom and the Dolphin actually kind of is like, because Dolphin gives you what, +1 defense in water, right?
Yeah, +1 defense in water against range attacks, and maybe it's just all attacks. I haven't checked that again. I don't. It doesn't come up all that often.
But think about it, even if it is just range, right? So now
Yeah.
I'm +1 defense, and you're -1 damage.
Yep.
It's like, and I've got shape change and impervious. You've got to get through. Super cool. Super cool.
Yeah.
They don't get like super hammered by like Black Widow saying
No.
like, oh, you can't use this. It's like, that's cool. I'll just use my other stuff. I've got regular charge, so I can actually get to you.
Yep.
Super cool. Yeah, I'm sure we'll dive back into more of the set. We've got questions, so let's just get started on some of these questions.
Sounds good.
Let's see here. Let's see if there's any questions related to the set first. No. Okay, Joe Pangrazius says if you okay, this would be right up your alley because I
Yeah.
know you're a big time wrestling fan. I'm not. If you could get one Unclicked wrestler from history made, who would it be?
That is an incredibly difficult question because they're already making some from history, right? And I
Right.
do come from a very long, like, I started watching wrestling when I was 6, so that's like 32 years of watching wrestling, and then there's a little bit of history behind it, right?
Yeah.
And somebody in the comments, they mentioned Bruno Sammartino, which is interesting, because he has a big history here in Toronto. Won the belt actually, not too far from where we live. I think he might have lost it in Maple Leaf Gardens too. I don't remember offhand from my just kind of reading the past. But
So the person that commented that is Canadian. Let's just
oh,
be
is
clear.
he? Yeah.
Yes.
So figures. A lot of like, even though he's kind of got a Polish background, he's very very popular in Canada. And they've already made, like, Andre the Giant and Macho Man were big parts of my old school history. So if I was to go full history, I'd go Antonio Inoki, the original MMA fighter, as it were, because he
Okay.
had that classic match with Muhammad Ali.
Uh-huh.
Now, granted, he is more familiar in, like, All Japan Pro Wrestling, but he did work with WWE at certain times. And he's another guy you can add the politician keyword to, because he is a politician in Japan.
Of course.
You could just really make a super close combat focused figure out of this. That also, to a certain degree, could make sense having leadership. And just I think Antonio Inoki is just a piece of wrestling history that would really fit into the game of HeroClix with what we've seen as far as wrestlers are concerned. So
So in my lifetime, when I was little, my brother and I had the wrestling buddies, if you remember them, for Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior. Okay, he got Hulk Hogan, that was his guy. I got Ultimate Warrior, that was my guy. Um, so I grew up in that era. When I was in like junior high and high school, it was like The Rock and Stone Cold and all that stuff, right? And I don't even know the names of the eras. I don't. I
Rock and
don't.
Stone Cold was the Attitude Era. You're good.
Attitude Era. Yeah. Okay.
That's
So
when everybody knew about wrestling.
yes, yes. So I was not like super into a lot of that. That being said, um, there's wrestlers that like I liked. There's wrestlers I've seen in person. I saw Eddie Guerrero after he won the belt. They came to the Save Mart Center in Fresno, and I saw that. That was cool. But they've already made him, right?
Right.
So I was like sitting there and thinking, and I'm like, who are like some really obscure characters that I just had like a lot of fun with growing up? And then it took me back to the PlayStation 1. There was a wrestling game on there,
Yeah.
and Doink the Clown was my
Yes.
favorite freaking character to play with on that game. So if I had to choose, it would be either Doink the Clown or a real wild card here, Bam Bam Bigelow.
You know what? Bam Bam Bigelow, I think he set the stage for so many big man wrestlers. Him
Yes.
and Vader are like they're the high standard for
It's
big
like the
men.
Dudleys, right? Like he's
Yeah.
kind of like the Dudleys came along and like yeah, but so I would have to go to one of those two. Gun press in my head probably be Doink,
Yeah.
just Doink the Clown.
Well, I would definitely double up on the Bam Bam for you. It's like
There you
you got to
go.
vote for Bam Bam Bigelow from
Yeah,
me.
fat guys all around. Is it?
Yeah.
I would also even go with like a Yokozuna or like a Kamala. Those would
Hmm.
be fun too.
I,
I was
I
like,
I would go Vader before them just because they're really just the Blob ultimately stat
that's
wise.
okay. That's okay. The
But I think
Blob, but the Blob needs the WWE
yeah.
abilities to be good.
Yeah. And I think when it comes down to that, like, Vader, I think kind of is a little bit where they can go wider, because that's a big man like Bigelow who could do like a flip, a cartwheel on somebody. He's like, "That's a 400-pound man. What just happened?"
It's like the guy in Adam Sandler's Billy Madison, right?
Yeah.
He's like, "You're supposed to pinch my leg if you couldn't breathe." It's just a stunt.
Yeah.
It's funny. Yeah, good question. Fun. That's always fun. Really excited for Wave 2 of WWE. I can't wait to see what that brings.
Mhm.
Wave 1 hit pretty popular. There's some real all stars in that set. Yeah.
Finn Balor, I can't wait. Him and the
Yeah.
Fiend, baby.
There was some real all stars in that set. You know, WWE. They had the Undertaker, Eddie Guerrero, obviously. Finn Balor is another. Finn Balor's super relevant too.
Yeah.
Just knocking out defense powers is nothing to sneeze at.
Nope.
Who else was in there that was pretty good? Ronda Rousey. I've seen some people play. Triple H.
Yep.
I've seen on some teams.
Eddie Guerrero, I've seen a lot of. I played the Undertaker personally to a top 4 WKO. So, but that was in an ID card world. I don't know if that would still kind of that team would have to completely flip its functionality.
Yeah.
And my daughter plays the crap out of all the female wrestlers every week that she can. So, and she does very well.
I have the Asuka. That's the only one I have.
Okay.
Yeah. Jason Labandera says, "What are some of the best heralds for the new Galactus in modern and golden 300-point build?" So this is like, I'm really disappointing some people here. I don't know the full thing with the heralds. I don't know what he gives them. I know he gives them basically like powers off of the dial, right?
Yeah, you'll get powers on the dial. I saw some phasing, saw some pulse wave, saw some interesting stuff. I saw power cosmic on there too. So like I think at least on the first click of the herald dial, you get the power cosmic. So that alone, think of a character you'd like the power cosmic with. And then go from there. I think.
I know a lot of people are saying Hulk, right? A lot of people want the Hulk as the herald. For me, I'm like, I don't know, man. I think that's always like a super like generic answer, like the big beater as the herald, you know. Dr. Fantastic is not unique.
Oh boy,
I just found his card.
Oh boy. So yeah, there will be some of those ruler keywords with a Dr. Fantastic on the sideline and a Dr. Fantastic on the board with Jason Wingard. I want to keep calling him Mastermind because everybody keeps calling him Jason, and that drives me nuts.
Yeah.
It's like, so Jason, man, what do I do in the game? And what's worse is he makes bystanders, and I make teams that make bystanders all the time, so it gets really confusing.
Super funny. Yeah, hey, I got to deal with Aaron, okay? So I think you can deal with Jason for the duration of modern age.
And people have forgotten about the hockey mask, so I need something, I guess.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know. I think like anytime you want to give powers, right, it's got to be like synergetic. It's got to be something that's going to be synergetic. I know like the original, when I played Galactus from Galactic Guardians, I like to use the Fast Forces Superman from Superman Smallville set because he had prob already, he had hypersonic speed, and he had good defense. So then it's like just adding like running shot and things like that to him. Pretty good. Or giving him free actions to use hypersonic is also like stupid good. That being said, Hulk, not an easy to kill guy. Has good stats once you get into his dial, giving him extra powers.
Yeah, it's a matter of what the extra powers kind of are for the Hulk, because like phasing, it kind of helps him, and protected outwit helps him on a click or two for the most part, because he's mostly protected outwit. He's got indomitable, so what does he care? Like, I mean, it almost feels redundant. Are we talking? I'm sorry. I'm immediately, when I hear Hulk, I'm going for the Immortal Hulk.
Immortal Hulk. Yeah, sorry.
That's what
I was talking about.
Okay, cool. As long as I make it the right assumption. From there, I kind of want to look at it and say, think about any character you've said he's great, but he's outwittable, and then boom, that problem's gone now, right?
Yeah.
So,
I think something like the 666 Daredevil, or something like that would be like super good, because. Could he be equipped? I don't remember if he's a standard character or not.
He is a standard character. No, he's not a standard character because he's a double base.
Okay, so
yeah.
So I think like if you like adding stuff to him, I don't know if that matters, but regardless,
I can never figure out the standard character rules. In my Amber, could you grab me the pack out of the backpack? My lovely wife.
Just ask Amber. Doesn't she just know?
She's fallen a little behind because she took a bit of a break from the game. So.
How dare she?
Right? Like the nerve on her. And I might need the rule too. And I understand where she was coming from, because she was very overwhelmed during the ID card era, trying to figure out what was going on the sideline while at the same time play on the map, and she didn't have like quite the game experience playing just in general as I did. She
Yeah.
takes the bullet a lot for like when we can't get a babysitter to watch the kids to go to a tournament. She takes bites the bullet a lot for that, and I love her for that. She's within earshot, so I'm really pouring it on here.
You have to, man. You have to. You have to. You got to go one way or the other, right? Because the opposite is like she should be worshiping you. She should be kissing the ground you walk on. And like that's not a good way to get things you want.
No. No, she's a wonderful person, and I love her for it.
Yeah. So there's nothing on his card that says he can't be equipped. But
yeah.
And regardless, I think that like characters, if you want to talk about like hard to kill characters, I think for the points, Daredevil's pretty good. Being able to swap around on this dial based on what power you're getting from the Herald, right? Like if you're getting like charge, right? I don't think you get charge.
Okay, so here we go. Standard character has a single base or peanut base. So yeah, he would be a standard character then.
Yeah, but see, like now you can give him like prob, outwit. I think that's stealth, charge. It's like giving him charge when he already has blades, and sidestep is like super nice. So I don't know. I think there's like just a lot of different ways you can go with it. So I don't think there's really like a wrong or right way to play it.
Yeah.
I guess it remains to be seen too with Galactus, like what he actually does.
I think ultimately what it comes down to is we're going to see he has a ton of options. And the world is always, it's kind of like when we go back to the Infinity Gauntlet. You could just put it on a whole lot of things and it would be really good. And you would take a character who was already pretty good and had that extra thing of, oh man, if only he couldn't be outwitted and had willpower. Bam, there it is.
Yeah.
So.
And that was 40 points.
Yeah.
So.
This is 25.
Yeah. Let's see here. And I got to scroll back up to my questions. Because I had to dig for that one. Thanks, Jason.
My bad.
Didn't get Jason.
My bad.
Not you. Jason Lavendera.
Oh, okay.
To ask a question. Let's see here. Then we're going to get... This is a really interesting thing. Actually, kind of a funny... it's a good person to talk to from Canada. It says, any thoughts, predictions on the new PayPal rules and the lack of protection? So, for anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to share my screen here for a second. So this is from PayPal, and this came up in my Funko Pop group. However it looks. It says,
I'm just pointing at the page because the screen share is including my little face.
Oh yeah, amendments to the PayPal account user agreement. So it says we're expanding our seller protection program to include certain intangible goods and providing terms and conditions with respect to the coverage of such intangible goods. So I'm guessing that's like digital stuff, right?
Yeah, like digital items.
Whether it be music, right? Music download. I pay for an album that you didn't give me. Pay, something like that. Cool.
I paid on Steam for a game with PayPal. What's going on here, Steam?
Yeah. We are clarifying that our seller protection program does not cover unauthorized transactions initiated in an environment not hosted by PayPal. So, Jason, can you think of an environment not hosted by PayPal where we have transactions?
Probably some kind of drug deal.
Yeah.
I think anything that's not part of something you should, because there's always a list of items you can't use for, or you can't use PayPal for a transaction for, and I think it would be anything that falls under that.
Yeah. So to me, it's kind of it's a broad statement, right? So I would just question, like, it says unauthorized transactions initiated in an environment not hosted by PayPal. So like eBay is like strongly affiliated with PayPal, right? I believe they're the same company, same parent company. So then, like, let's say Facebook, for example, if we do a deal on Facebook, is that going to be honored by the seller protection, like, something like that? Let's say for significantly not as described claims under our seller protection program, we're clarifying that the item may not be returned to sellers, or sellers may be required to accept the return item and pay for the return shipping costs. Okay, so Jason and I make a deal. I send it to Jason. He says, "Hey, this isn't what you said, right?" So now PayPal can say either, "Well, tough shit, Jason, you're stuck with it," or "Tough shit, Aaron, even though
Take
you
it back.
said it, you take it back." So um, that's kind of sucks. It's kind of out of your hands, right? And don't get it wrong. You can't just say like, "Well, I'm just going to refuse." Like they'll take the money out of your account. They will
Yeah.
do it. You will
Yep.
pay for it. Um, we're providing the terms and conditions under which we will automatically enroll eligible charities with PayPal Giving Fund, with the option to opt out anytime. Okay, sure, whatever.
Yeah, I don't think
We're
that really affects us as a whole.
we are excluding items intended for resale, including single item transactions or transactions that include multiple items from reimbursement eligibility under our purchase protection program. So this is a big one, right?
Mhm.
So if I make a deal with Jason, he pays me, right? And I either don't ship, or I half-ass ship, or I ship him something, broken or whatever. Um, they're kind of like saying like, hey, that's a secondary market issue. This isn't. You're not. He's not a store. That's an individual you bought from. You bought as is. You know. Sorry, you're stuck. You're stuck with your purchase.
Mhm. And that is, I think, the most worrying and problematic for anybody buying and selling collectibles.
Yeah.
And it's specifically not so. Like for instance, you and me do a deal. I want to buy. We'll go back to the Hulk. I want to buy your Hulk. Here's $60, and you don't send the
Mhm.
Hulk. Now the Hulk wasn't a packaged item. It was a resale item, which means it was not the original
Yeah. It
packaging.
wasn't a
It's not.
sealed package.
Yeah, like the second it's out of the pack, it's a resale item,
Yeah.
and PayPal's not protecting anybody on this anymore.
Yeah.
And I think this is probably where most of their problems came from.
I would say so. Like the majority of the times, like let's say I bought from Troll and Toad, right? And I bought a brick.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty easy to say, first off, it's easy to deal with Troll and Toad. Like, hey, I didn't get,
Yeah.
whatever. But if I have to go to PayPal, I say, hey, I bought this item. They sent me, it was not the sealed brick that they said they were going to send me. They sent me something else, or they sent me nothing at all. And they say, okay, that's a wholesale good or whatever, like a retail good. They're a vendor. We'll refund you the money. Now with Troll and Toad, now they sell singles, right?
Yeah.
So if I buy, let's say I buy Giant Girl, right? And I say I want to buy the Fast Forces Giant Girl, and they send me the regular Giant Girl. They say, well, you bought Giant Girl, that's Giant Girl. You're stuck
Yeah.
with it, you know. I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see how that goes. I
It's
think,
it's definitely going to be difficult, specifically for us who may be dealing in the world of Facebook or personal transactions.
mhm,
Like,
offer
and
up something
yeah,
like that.
like for instance, if you and me were to do a deal, I
Hmm.
would have to use PayPal to pay you. I mean,
Yeah,
because we don't have e-transfer in the states yet, and PayPal is going to be the source we do it with. And then people relied on PayPal because there was buyer seller protections, and now that specific protection is gone, and that is like I'm not panicking,
yeah,
but my God, I'm gonna have to trust the person I deal with on the other end now.
yeah. That was the point I was gonna get to, is just really try and buy from trusted sellers. And, if you are that trusted seller, don't really try and take advantage
Mm-hmm.
of, like, hey man, I did an eBay deal, right? And I won't say who the guy was. I'll say where he was located. He's located in Reno, Nevada. And he's being kind of an asshole. I'm gonna be very real. I put my Wendigo on eBay. I accepted a best offer that was a pretty low price. Um, I shipped the next day. I printed the label. I dropped off at the post office. Now this part's on me. I did not have them scan in and give me a scan receipt. Okay, I used their Dropbox. It was a Friday
Mm-hmm.
when I dropped it off. Okay, and post office is always busy, especially this post office by where I live. They suck. I hate going there. The people that work there are lazy and rude, and I don't give a damn because they are. Um, And so I
if they
don't
are,
like.
they are, right? So
Yeah, so I dropped it off and I left, right? Um, so it never got scanned, and it didn't even get picked out of the drop box till Monday, right? So Saturday, the transaction was Thursday. I dropped off Friday. Saturday, the guy messaged me, "Hey, I haven't seen any movement on this. What's going on? I want a refund." And I'm like, "Bro, it's Saturday. Like, He's like, if you haven't mailed it yet, this is for a gift. Da, 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 da. Like, look, when you buy something, like once it's mailed, it's in the mail. You could have bought from Amazon Prime, and if it doesn't get there when you want it there, well, tough shit. That's how it goes, right? When you're dealing with the mail.
yeah, you need to
So
wait
then
for a
it
much
goes,
longer idle time than 1 day for a shipping item. Be like, I want a refund now.
yeah, and so I messaged him like, hey, give it till Monday night. If there's no update Monday night, we'll deal with it. Then I'll go to the post office and I'll check it out. So he messaged me Monday at like noon. Hey, what's going on? Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, all right, I'll go to the post office. I went and talked to them, and they said, well, it looks like it hasn't been scanned yet. It'll get scanned whenever it gets touched. And then I messaged them back. This is what it said. And then lo and behold, overnight, it got scanned.
Right.
I'm like, okay, but this guy had already asked me. He's like, no, I just want my money back. I just want my money back. I'm like, I'm not going to give you your money back and then have you get this item in the mail on Friday.
Yeah.
And then I'm out the figure and the money. You know what I mean? And so I think like this is a perfect example of the kind of shit that PayPal doesn't want to deal with. So they're just gonna go,
Yeah.
you know what? We're out.
We're done with this, and I
Yeah.
get that because I have heard, being a Magic player and a HeroClix player, I have heard all of the horror stories about all the people who've had to just go to PayPal and be like, look, they're screwing with me. And it's not like, I'm not talking about like one person. I'm talking in the hundreds of people I have seen say this, and like hundreds of transactions where people have been like, yeah, if you get screwed, just go to PayPal, they'll cover you. But
Yeah.
that's, you got to think from PayPal's side, that's 100 calls they've got to take, or 100
Yeah.
customer complaints that they're dealing with. How much is that costing them at that area,
And
in that
and a
area?
lot of times the customer doesn't have the proof, right?
Yeah.
And even like for me, I've done deals on Facebook where I'm like, hey, this guy screwed me, and I have all the screenshots, and I do everything. They're like, yeah, you know what, you're too bad. And so I'm like, all right, and that's kind of this last bullet point before we move on is we're requiring the buyers attempt to resolve their issues directly with sellers prior to filing a claim with us in order to be eligible for reimbursement under a purchase protection program. So it's like, okay, I don't know what that means, like it's like, hey, I messaged him, he didn't message me back. Well, that might not be good enough for PayPal, that.
Yeah.
So
I think at this point, like, and you and me, I think, mused about it before the show. Um, eBay use a party that uses PayPal, because what'll
mhm.
end up happening is, sure, PayPal's not protecting you, but the other retail front has its own reputation to protect,
Mhm.
and they'll help you out a little bit better. So,
Yeah.
you said probably best to just use eBay for until like something else other than eBay kind of presents itself. I know there's that
Yeah.
Oxit system as well, but I
I
don't
haven't
know
messed
how.
with that too much
I
yet.
haven't. I don't think it's really doing much in Canada just yet. So we haven't had a chance to really mess with it. But like eBay is a pretty relatively reliable source. eBay will help you
Yeah.
out specifically, even though they are run by, like, they're owned by PayPal now.
Yeah. Well,
But
and that's
they'll
what
still
that's
help.
what I'm saying. I think that's where it gets into the like hosted by PayPal. So eBay is hosted by PayPal, so
Yeah,
they're gonna have to honor their agreements.
yeah,
And I don't know, it's tough. I like I said, just buy from a trusted seller. Don't buy from Joe Schmo on the internet. I remember back in the day, right, on HC Rums, you had to have 25 positive transactions before you could sell anything,
yeah,
right? Now we live in the. I mean, that was the beginning of the internet. Like let's not get it twisted. We live in the here and now where we have apps that are solely dedicated to buying stuff from individuals.
yeah,
So let's just be reasonable. I think overall the HeroClix community is a good community, and I think for the most part you're pretty safe from buying.
yeah,
But I think also it like if it really is bad, you can always try and turn to like a third party dealer Where like I've had Bill Rock, for example, and he doesn't always do this, so don't just go flood his inbox. But I've had him like the guy had not done any trades before. I've done 60. I'm not really looking to, but it was a high value trade. I'm not really looking to trade with this guy and get ripped off. So we both send our stuff to Bill. Once he received both, he reships. I on my end compensated Bill for doing so, and I took that as my part of the responsibility of the trade. As the person who's been trading more often. So there's always options like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people willing to help you out.
I don't very frequently trade on the internet, to be honest. Maybe in the early days of a set, and I do tend to kind of trade in Canada, just because shipping between Canada and the U.S. is such a nightmare.
It's funny you bring that up.
Yeah, and I like this has come up on the international group a lot, and I get why the complaint is coming up, and I also get why shipping between the U.S. and Canada. You guys have it worse than we do. I'm gonna 100% say
our post office
you guys
sucks.
Your post office, like getting stuff to us, sounds like a mess. Us, we go in, we maybe have like one extra form to fill out when we do it. No, not even an extra form. Not we like you guys have these weird custom forms to fill out, and we just say send it to America, and the shipping might be a little bit more, or in a lot of cases less than shipping locally to Canada, which is weird in itself. And it gets to you guys like that. Like I ship to America, and it arrives faster to you guys than it took me to send it to a guy like the next city over.
Wow. So yeah, it's really weird. So like for me on my part, no, you're fine. On my part, it's like a lot of times what happens is for me when I post stuff, I say when to go, $45 shipped in the U.S. Right? Yeah. And then I'll get a guy, hey, I'll take it. Okay, cool. Where are you located? Oh, I'm in Quebec. Quebec City. I'm like, okay, well,
shipping a bit.
You're gonna have the price is not going to be that. I need your address so I can figure out how much the shipping is going to be, and you'll have to pay that. Well, how much is it going to be? I don't know. I need your address so I can find that out. Well, why can't you just tell me? Well, because I don't know, because it varies based on your address, and then I have to fill it out. Okay, through the USPS website, it says it'll be $24 because they only offer this, and this service. But if I go to the post office, they'll give me more services that I can purchase, and it might cost less. Now, do you remember what I was just talking about the post office? They fucking sucked. Yeah. So I don't want to go there. So I just say, hey, this is the price. Oh, no, that's too much. Okay, cool. And that happens more often than not. And then on the other hand, like Michael, the person who asked the question, he says, hey, I want to buy that figure. I understand I got to pay more. And I say, okay, what I do a lot of times, like, I would prefer to ship in the U.S. Okay, it's just easier for me if there's a claim I got to file, right, to prove it got there. Insurance stuff, custom stuff. There's a lot less to deal with. Yeah. If I don't get a U.S. buyer, then I'll hit you up. And a lot of times I get a U.S. buyer because I sell my stuff cheap. So it's tough. I get both sides of the argument.
Yeah, I think where the big strain comes from is these people are making this argument in the international group. And that's where I think where the strain is really coming from. Because the international group, the expectation is, okay, this is hero clicks from everywhere. And they'll see a post that says US only. I think that can be a little annoying to them. I get that. It's not against the rules to kind of PM them, go into the private message like, look, I see you say US only. If I offer you the extra money to ship to Canada, would you be willing to do it? You got to be reasonable to a certain degree, because if they say US only, you got to understand, okay, they're shipping from the US. It's going to be a pain in the butt to come from Canada. It's going to cost you more. Just pay the extra. Be ready to pay the extra if you want it that bad.
Yeah.
But make sure you're ready to have the conversation with them, because it's one thing where they say shipping $4.50 in the U.S. Cool. Okay, so that's the shipping in the U.S. Let me talk about to you in Canada now. Here's my address. What do you think you can do for me?
Yeah, and you got to be reasonable. And hey, like I've had guys say like, well, shipping's on you, man. I'm like, hey, well, guess what? You're not getting shit.
I was gonna say it's like then the figure's not coming to you.
Yeah, so like I mean I get that, and then a lot of times it's like, hey man, this is taking forever to get here. Did you even ship it or what? And it's like, hey man, I don't want to be hassled. I did my end. It's on the mail system now.
Yeah.
It's on multiple mail systems, not just mine. It's
Yeah,
yours as well.
because
And the customs, especially right now during COVID, it's like who knows what's gonna get flagged in customs.
yeah.
Like,
Well,
look, man,
I mean, if you are in Canada and something's coming from the U.S., heads up, they're holding it for an extra 2 weeks, just because that's how they think they're going to get the COVID off of it. That'll get the Rona off of it, right?
yeah,
I mean, it's not realistic, but whatever. It's a safety measure. I understand it. So you're going to expect that
yeah,
extra waiting. And if you're tracking the package, if it starts in the U.S., you start reading USPS.com. And the same tracking information will get there, and then you'll see where it kind of hits Canada. It's like waiting for clearing from customs. Then from there, that's where you have to switch to Canada Post, or if it's like the UK or Australia or another country, whatever your local post office is, the same shipping number is still going to apply, but that's when you have to make the switch. And then
yeah.
that's where the shipping gets taken over. And a lot
What?
of people miss that too.
Yeah, see, and I didn't know that, but I'll tell you, like when you go to the post office, and like, if you ask the person working there, like, hey, I'm gonna ship this to Canada, or wherever in the world,
Yeah.
they'll say, look, I say, but I want to pay for tracking, and I want to pay for insurance, and they'll say, well, that's fine, but they will tell you it's only good until it hits the border.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, so if it gets lost on that side of the border, like, then what happens? Nothing. Our insurance doesn't cover that.
Yeah.
Now I know, like Joshua SX and like some other players, they're like, hey, that's not true. Da, 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 da. Like, hey man, I'm telling you, the post office themselves will tell you this. And as a person who's dealt with post office losing my shit when I've done eBay sales, when I've done Facebook sales, it is a fucking pain in the ass to go get your money back, or anything. Like
Yeah.
like you almost never get it. I've had to reship $60 figures because they got lost in the mail or they didn't get scanned as delivered. Like you'll see the trail and it got accepted at the city that the guy lives in, but it never got delivered to
Yeah.
his house. And the guy's like, "Hey man, I didn't get it."
There's a disgusting trend of the mail of video games not like stopping at that point. It's like they made it to the city, guys. Where's my video games?
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
I'm sorry, your mailman is currently playing it.
yeah, right. Yeah, he opened that Amazon box.
Yeah.
Hey,
It
we
was
had
damaged in delivery. Yeah, my ass.
we had our UPS guy, or not our UPS guy, but we actually had at the beginning of COVID through my work, um stuff we shipped through UPS that was like sanitizing stuff or like gloves and stuff get like hijacked. Like, and we even had like a large purchase of sanitizer get confiscated by the National Guard. So it's like, hey man, stuff goes missing sometimes,
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy, crazy
So
stuff.
ultimately, when it comes down to it, the mailman is a tricky thing to deal with. International shipping is just the biggest pain. Be patient and understand why people don't necessarily want it to be their first go-to. But
It's not really that many more paperwork to deal with, to be honest with you. Like it's really not, especially if you're doing your labels online,
yeah,
which I don't understand why anybody doesn't do these days. Other than I don't have a printer, I get that one a lot.
I don't have a printer.
Yeah, I get it. So like I get that part of it, but it's like it's not the paperwork that is the issue, is what these people don't understand. It's not.
No.
We're not saying like, oh man, we have to fill out 4 lines. Granted, we live in a country where we complain about wearing masks during a pandemic. Um,
I didn't say it.
hey, I did. All right.
we have our fair share of dummies too. So you
Yeah.
guys are not alone.
Yeah, I think everybody does. We just make it public.
Your country has more people making noise about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Canada were like, shh, no, they're over there. No, stop it. You guys knock it off.
Yeah. Look, man, I'll say this: it's 104 where I live right now. That's 40 for you Canucks. Um, it's 104. I work in a place with no air conditioning, and I wear a mask all day, and I do it, and I don't complain. Okay, is it stifling? A little. Is it a little bit hard to breathe? Sure, it can be when it's really hot like that. But you can do it, okay? If you gotta wear a mask to go to the store, just do it. Don't complain about it. I went to get lunch yesterday to a sandwich shop, and a kid walked in without a mask, right? And the lady there politely asked him, "Hey, do you have a mask you can put on?" He says, "No." She says, "Well, I'll tell you what. I'll take your order really quick, and then you have to wait outside." And he got really upset. And I told him, it was a younger guy, and I said,
Yeah.
"Hey, man, this is state law, you know." Where I live in California, it's the state law. You have to wear a mask in public. Period. End of story. Blanket across the state. And he got upset, and it's like, look, man, they're fining this rest. You're not the one going to get the fine. It's the restaurant. The restaurant will
Yeah.
get the fine for having you in there without a mask. So just shut up and put your mask on, or get the f out of here. I don't know.
Yeah. I'll take
Speaking
a
of
breath on it.
Yeah, speaking of masks, have you guys been playing any games publicly yet?
Publicly, not yet. Our store locally, we're gonna have a very small, like we set the player limit to 8 players, and we put a mask requirement on the like specifications of the tournament. So
Okay.
yeah, and we're gonna be strict about that 8 people. And if you signed up and you show up, you get first dibs. If you didn't sign up and show up, I don't care. I'm kicking you out if we have more than 8 and you're like later or whatever.
Yeah.
People who signed up will have priority. People who don't have masks, I'm sorry, you're not playing in this tournament. Because we have currently in where we are in Ontario, we are up to a maximum group of 10 people.
Same.
So yeah. But as well, the rule is if you can social distance, no need for a mask. Like if you're outside at a park, you're able to keep 6 feet away from people.
Hmm.
Cool. 2 meters here.
Yeah.
But if you can't, that's where you're supposed to be wearing a mask. So that's why we're kind of being strict about it in the store for our tournament. As well, we're kind of having rules like don't touch each other stuff. Like I just played in a Magic tournament today. We were required to wear masks. It was thank God it was a pre-release, so like the competitive level like is like somewhere down
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. So you don't have to worry about the
Yeah,
cross shuffle, right?
right. Because you're not allowed to cut. Like we weren't allowed to touch another person's deck. And like we weren't allowed to touch each other's things in general. No handshaking, which is its own kind of thing. Like game, even Magic the Gathering, every game there's that like handshake expectation. We kind of do it. We're kind of holding off on that, right?
Yeah.
And so we're being strict about our rules about it, but at the same time we're giving it a try. This is gonna be the first week this Sunday, and I think we're only really gonna have myself and 3 other players possibly. Fingers crossed that many show up. We'll see. But like I said, the Magic tournament I played today, everybody was smart, cordial about it. Nobody complained. Everybody just played, did their thing. Everybody kept their masks on. We made jokes about how sweaty it is in our faces, and we're all big gamers, so it's like we're
Yeah.
huge, we're sweaty. And we're
Yeah.
already huge and
We
sweaty.
already break chairs as it is
Yeah,
when we sit in them,
like
right? Like.
the chair's creaking, and I'm sweaty, and now I'm double sweaty in the face.
Yeah.
I looked like I was going to rob the place because of this new beard. I don't the face mask does nothing like the hospital mask. So I wear a bandana over my face, so I look like I'm
Sure.
robbing the place.
Yeah. I got one from Inked Playmats. I did. Huh?
They're doing Ink Playmats is doing them.
Yeah, they're okay. The reason I bought from them is they have cool designs, and they were readily available in the very beginning when a lot of places weren't. But for every one you buy, they donate 3.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
And so that's why I bought from there, and they have kid sizes, which is cool. So I picked up four from them. And then I've got a bunch through work that are like, cloth. Like
Okay.
they're like a better than nothing, right? I think they're.
Yeah.
I think this is what they called it, the better than nothing safety level.
Yeah.
I've got some N95s, but I don't. I'm not gonna wear those just haphazardly for whatever reason. Um, yeah, we're not gaming here yet. I know my local Pokemon group has been having private meetups at like people's houses. I've had friends over to my house, and so far so good. I'm not like throwing any raging parties or anything like that. I haven't seen my 93-year-old grandpa, so I'm like, so there's some caution. I think the standard that a lot of the stores are saying is they're going to wait until churches start opening up, which they have here. But I think they're waiting for like a more broad opening, and then once that happens, they're gonna start like holding events. But we are still at the 10 people maximum, right? And there's always like one or two of those 10 people are gonna be employees, right? So
Yeah.
you really only get 8 players, and then it's like it has to be financially worth it for the store because like that's if you've got 8 players, nobody can come in and buy anything, right? So. Um, that being said, like I know, like I had Edward Shelton on last week, and he was talking about how they do their gaming, their gloves and masks, right? And like for him, he talked about extra steps he takes where once he goes home, he doesn't take the figures out or touch them for a week. I think that's a smart thing to do.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned the customs thing, right? They're gonna hold it for 2 weeks. Like, look, there is a shelf life for the virus on a hard surface. Um, if you don't really need to touch those HeroClix figures,
No.
So it's like put them away, be safe. Um,
I think ours tend to just sitting there a week naturally anyway. So
yeah, right.
lazy about putting them away.
Hey, I've got some that are in boxes from. I'll just say when the Mighty Thor was new. The stuff I took to tournaments to go play. Yeah. So that I actually finally got out and organized 2 weeks ago. On Father's Day was not 2 weeks ago, whenever that was. Yeah, I don't know. We have a couple events of Pokemon here locally that stores are trying out. Pokemon itself took out the handshake rule. You mentioned that because Pokemon has a handshake rule. They took that out. I would imagine no cut or tap type deal. So like for HeroClix, for example, it's a very different game, right? So if I'm playing you, I'm gonna say like, hey, what's Hulk's defense, power, and value? And it's kind of like the onus is on you as a player now to say like, well, this is what he has showing, but don't forget he also has this from whatever effect.
Honestly, there couldn't be a better time for the back of the card rule to be in existence. It's like he's on click 4. What does click 4 look like? Like this, and just show the card. And it's like there you go, guys. It's like it makes even more sense now. For all the things like I'm against it, it's like now you know what it makes the most.
There's
sense.
no argument for it.
Yeah,
or for being against it now.
Yeah.
No. And you know me, I'm firmly in the camp of against. Because I want my miniature game to be a miniature game, not a card game.
Yeah.
So, but hey, man, it is what it is. It's a new world. We got to learn to live in it.
Yeah.
Well, that's all of our questions. We didn't have a lot this week, but we managed to hit an hour, which is interesting. I didn't think we would.
You should see what we do on the Metal Lab. Sometimes we go into the show like, what are we going to talk about? 3 hours later, okay, we got to go, guys.
Yeah, no. I had Edward on last week, and I told him, I was like, I fully expect this to be a long episode.
Yeah.
he was like, yeah, I'll hijack. Yeah, I was like,
I love having Edward on the show, but I know I have to either start it early or plan to be up late.
Yeah, it's fun.
And I think it's great because he's kind of like me, where he'll pick a topic and we'll just go, and suddenly we're over here, but we're still kind of on this topic, but we're on like the road less traveled on that topic.
Well, we hit all the topics that we wanted to talk, and then we hit topics we didn't expect to talk about, like the international page. Oh, you know what I was gonna say too in regards to that is I think if you think of it this way, it's not as annoying. You say, look, this is a HeroClix trade page. anybody in the world is welcome to use this page.
Yeah.
So then it's not saying if you use this page you have to be willing to ship to anybody in the world. It's like no, like anybody in the
Yeah.
world is welcome to use this page. And if you
So
think about it that way, then it's a little bit less.
yeah, that's the way I think about it. And at the same time, like I said, if they say US only, I will be in there and being like, look, I really need this
Yeah,
figure. I will pay the extra shipping because you got to understand when we see that price in US dollars, we're like,
that's
oh,
cheaper.
oh God, it looks so cheap, but that's not going to be the price I'm paying, is it? Because
Yeah,
it's like the
no, it's so
conversion, it's
because
like, ah.
and PayPal will convert it for you too, right?
Oh
Like
yeah,
they
well,
automatically.
PayPal converts it their way, and they win every time they convert it because
Oh.
I will Google the conversion rate and then I'll see what PayPal is saying. It's like, no, 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 hold on a second, you're keeping some of that.
I wonder if I can like. We'll have to try this as an experiment. If I can send you like an invoice for Canadian amount.
I think you can because I have done it where I'll send I do give some of the Patreon money to the Metal Lab guys and I
Mhm.
have to select the dollar value out of it, but it shows me what because Patreon pays in U.S. dollars, but it shows me what it's worth in Canadian what my PayPal value is in Canadian dollars. So it
Mhm.
gives me both values. So
Hmm. So that's what I'm saying. I'm wondering if like if that'd be the best practice. Like if you bought something for me, say like, hey, send me an invoice, right, for your dollar amount, and then like we'll figure it out. So it's not like PayPal is just boning you, or like
yeah.
do the conversion yourself, and then like whatever dollar amount you say the conversion turns out to be, I'll say okay, I'll send you that invoice. But I don't know. I,
I
I
mean,
wonder.
ultimately, if you're not using a PayPal balance and you're using your credit card, you're getting it in the butt.
True, true.
Because
I mean, that's just,
it's
hey, if you're using a credit card, you're already losing, bro.
yeah,
Like, let's be real.
absolutely. Like unless you're making a like if I go to the States and I pay with my credit card in a restaurant, I'm actually getting the best exchange rate on my credit card because they just do the standard exchange rate. They're getting their money one way or another.
Right,
Um,
right.
but if I do it through PayPal, PayPal does their conversion rate, takes
Uh,
that little, they do take an extra little bit. Banks do it too. Banks
mhm,
have a conversion rate, and then they have a staff conversion rate, which is
mhm.
the actual conversion rate. They pocket a little bit extra on converting it because it takes them a little bit of brain power to do that extra math.
Yeah, it's not like an algorithm they just figured out, right?
Yeah. So I'm not saying this is a conspiracy. This is actually a thing they do. This is not
Yeah.
like
No, no,
this.
it's a fact. It's
Yeah.
it's a fact. All right. Well, thanks, Jason, for coming on. It's only
Always a
an
pleasure.
hour episode, but there's not a lot other than previews. There's not a lot to cover, and previews. I highly, 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 highly encourage you to go to the actual page or video or whatever that the YouTube is or the preview is featured on.
Mhm.
If it's Mr. Clixflex's YouTube, and I don't like to plug his channel, but I will. If it's
Happy
his
Little
YouTube
Hero Clicks
page,
had one too.
Happy Little Hero Clicks had one. Clickstuff's Facebook page. Go actually click on where it is. It does a lot for the person. They are putting their time and effort into the preview. I'm not trying to please or tell anybody what to do, but I am encouraging you because it does help them out. Whether it's YouTube, it helps out with their YouTube algorithm or promotes the store's Facebook page, like Eternal Games. Hey man, our shops are hurting right now, right? They've had 3 months off. Let's get some revenue generated that way. So please go and visit that. That being said, our previews will be up on Tuesday.
Oh, sweet!
So look out for that.
Hype is real.
Yeah, the hype is real. I think we got some good ones. I hope you guys will be excited to see them. I know some people. I've been dropping little hints here and there in different little Facebook pages when people comment about like Frightful Four. I'm like, oh, Frightful Four is coming. There's more coming. Or one guy's like, oh, Maker's sculpt looks really creepy. I'm like, yeah, his dial is too. And so I'm
How do
dropping
you
little
know,
hints.
Aaron? I was like,
Maybe I'm
where's the
not
preview?
supposed to, but I don't know. I won't do it. Chris, if you're watching, I'm sorry. But yeah, they'll be up Tuesday, so keep your eyes peeled. I believe I'm doing them on the blog site again. So I wanted to do the YouTube video. I thought it'd be fun, but I just haven't had means to do it. So I think they'll just be blog site this time. So keep your eyes out for that. And until next time, remember, the real fun begins when you're 2 clicks from KO.